Hello, Orland High School family. This is Counselor Briggs. Wanted to do a quick video about education progression and how to plan your schooling and college path and whatnot. So, this video is mostly for those that are in high school, but it might be helpful for those that are no longer in high school. So, and this video does not necessarily fit every single person and fit every single scenario and situation. This is just kind of in general. So, for my high school students, y'all are up in here somewhere. Okay, you're in high school. You're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. You're essentially working on your health and research, PE, math, English, science, history, electives. As you go through your educational career, as long as you are passing all your classes and whatnot, you shouldn't have to do credit recovery. And the more requirements you get through earlier on, the more electives you have as a junior and senior. So if you play your cards right and you pass your classes and you plan your schedule properly, you should have 5 electives your senior year. All right. So once you get through high school, you get your high school diploma. Okay. There are things like the CHESP out there for California students. There's also the GED, but for this discussion, we're just going to go with high school diploma. So once you get your high school diploma, you have essentially 5 options, a couple different options. Like I said, there are other options out there. It just depends on what you want to do. But these are the 5 main ones. So you can either join the workforce. So you get out of high school, you go directly to work. By the way, once you start down a path, you're not locked in that path for life. Okay. Next option, trade school. This is for mechanics, welders, electricians, and things like that. Different programs require different amounts of time and amount of schooling and education and training. Some programs have apprenticeships and whatnot. You can then go to trade school. When you leave trade school, you can join the workforce. I forgot a little arrow for this, but you can also go from trade school into the workforce and then back to college, or directly from trade school into college. A lot of times programs at trade schools they give you a good number of college credits that then can usually transfer to a college. Okay. So that's trade school. I'm going to jump over to the military. So you can serve your time, sign up, serve your time in the military, and then transfer to college. You can either go directly to a 4-year, you can go to community college. I was trying to keep these arrows fairly clean, but yeah, so you can do that. Or you can start out and go to college. You can go 1 year of college, 2 years of college, and then go to the military and go in as an officer. It just depends on what you want to do. From the military, you can also then join the workforce when you're done, or you can just have a career in the military and go for it. And you can always go back to college if you want. And like I said, this is not everybody. You don't have to go to college. College may be your thing. College may not be your thing. All right, so let's discuss community college. Okay, community college, or the first 2 years of community college and 4-year, for the most part, you're essentially repeating your high school classes. Okay, there's not really a way around those. As a freshman, you have your core classes. Sophomore, your core classes, maybe a few major course requirements. So, for example, if you're going to go to college for business, you'll have a couple of business management classes in your sophomore year, or if you're going into early childhood education, you'll have some early childhood education classes. Okay, you can do a freshman year of college and then transfer your sophomore year to a 4-year. You can do sophomore year and then transfer as a junior, or you can go get your associate's degree. Now, what I recommend is, if you're going to go the community college route, get your associate's degree. Okay? 2 main reasons. 1, In California right now, we have the California Community College Grant, or California College Promise Grant. I don't recall the exact name, but your first 2 years are essentially free. There might be a couple of small costs that aren't covered by that grant, but college is free. You could knock out your associate's degree in those first 2 years. The other reason why I urge students to earn their associate's degree if they're going the community college route is this. I worked in college admissions for 3 years. Okay. There were many times when a community college, when a student would take a bunch of classes at community college, and for one reason or another, their credits don't all transfer to a 4-year college. So they want to go and get their bachelor's degree. Not all their credits will transfer over. There are programs out there, like I mentioned, where this community college has a partnership with this 4-year college. If you take these classes, you can go directly to the 4-year college. But when you have your associate's degree, you earn approximately, or you can earn an associate's degree is around 60 to 65 credits. Your associate's degree locks those in. Okay. So that's why I encourage an associate's degree. From your associate's degree, you can join the workforce, you can go on to a 4-year university or college, or you can go to nursing school and then join the workforce, or you can go to nursing school and then to your bachelor's. You can also go bachelor's back to nursing school. It just depends on what you want to do. But we have a lot of students here at OHS that are interested in nursing, so this was why I did this diagram this way. Okay, now jumping over to the 4-year. Okay, we're going to take our community college stuff, set it to the side for right now. We'll come back to that. Okay, your first 2 years of 4-year college are essentially the same as community college and high school. Okay, there are some programs out there that have a lot of major course requirements interwoven in your first 2 years. Like I got my bachelor's degree in music theory. So I actually had a lot of music classes during my first 4 years, and first 2 years of 4-year college. And then I also had core class requirements like math, science, English, history throughout all 4 years. But in general, for example, you're going for business, you're going to have most of your core classes in your first 2 years, and then your business classes your second 2 years. Okay, so community college freshman, 4-year freshman, essentially the same stuff. Sophomore, essentially the same thing. Junior year. Okay. When you go to a community college and you go for your associate's degree, there's a main thing that I want you guys to look out for and watch for. There's associates of arts there's an associate of arts, associate of science. Sorry, the bell. There's also associates of applied sciences or associates of applied arts or associates of applied sciences in, say, paramedic or fire school. Okay. You have to be careful. When you have applied in there, or it's an associates of applied something, you're going to have a lot fewer English, math, science, history classes, and it's more like, we'll say, firefighting. I had a student that when I worked as a college admissions person, he had his associates of applied sciences in firefighting. He had a lot of firefighter classes that transferred over, but they were electives, which that meant that he had to do a lot of English classes and whatnot to get his bachelor's degree. So be careful what you go for. Okay, be careful about that. Okay, you transfer in as a junior, you have major course requirements. Senior, major course requirements. Hoopla. Okay, 4-year college. They call it 4-year. However, sometimes it takes people 5 years. I've seen people do it in 3. I have a friend that lives down the street, did hers in 3. I also have known people that took 10 years to get there. It was a special person. Anyway, generally 4 to 5 years. Now, when you're at community college and 4-year college, if you decide you're going to go for business or go to school for business, and after your first year, you decide, nope, I'm going to go with education. Okay, you want to become a teacher. You change from wanting to be a stockbroker to a preschool teacher, something like that, a kindergarten teacher. there's not a whole lot of repercussions for changing your major. The further you go in college, the more the higher, the greater the repercussions, which means you may end up needing to spend more time in college so that you can meet your major course requirements. Okay, bachelor's degree. Ta-da! You earned your bachelor's of science, bachelor of arts, whatever. My degree was a bachelor of arts in music. Um, so from there, you can then either join the workforce or you go. This is just kind of general, like I said. You can go the medical route. There's the non-medical route, and then there's a law route. I don't know that route really well, so I didn't put it on here. Um, but when you are considering going to college, um, for the most part, the fields that you go into, they are not looking really heavily at what you get your bachelor's degree in. Sounds kind of crazy, but for example, I'm a school counselor. I got my degree in music. They're not super related. I mean, you can use music in counseling, but it's not this major thing. Um, Medicine, that's another story. You want to be going for a bachelor's in something like, I'd say, biology, anatomy, chemistry, things like that, science heavy. If you're going into law, I would recommend personally a business degree. The reason is it teaches you a lot of things about management and whatnot. If you're thinking about going into mental health, I'd recommend going for psychology. Some bachelor's degrees are going to help you kind of get ahead in your further in your later schooling. Um, for example, as a counselor, I wish I would have gotten my degree in psychology. The reason is it would have given me a little bit of a leg up in picking, or it would have better prepared me to become a counselor. I would have known terminology a little bit better. I would have known other things a little bit better. What I did that helped was I was thinking of going into education and becoming a teacher. I wanted to be a math teacher. Um, so I took education classes, which eventually helped me become a school counselor. Um, so that's kind of something to consider. Um, Now, a side note when we get to the bachelor's level or you finish your bachelor's degree, think about what you want to do. And while you're working on your bachelor's, especially toward the end, once you finish your bachelor's degree and then you're getting ready to start your master's or med school or something like that, I highly recommend trying to gain experience in that field. Um, for example, when I wanted to become a teacher, and that was the path I was going down, I got my bachelor's degree, and then I should have added another little sidebar over here. But if you want to become a teacher, you have about a year to 2 years worth of teaching credential that you need to complete. Um, that program will teach you like how to become a teacher, how to manage a classroom, or it's supposed to. Now, why I recommend trying to gain experience in that field, it lets you kind of experiment on your techniques and the things that you're learning later down the road. So, like I said, I wanted to be a teacher. During my teaching credential, I became a substitute teacher, which was glorious because I was able to practice the things that I was learning in my teaching credential program in real time. It wasn't all just theory and notes and stuff. I was able to go to class Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, I could practice the things that I learned. And then when I was practicing those things that I learned, I knew, hey, this was a really good technique and I was able to do this. And this worked really well. Or, oh my Lord, that was a horrible thing. Why did I try that? When I did that, or when those kinds of things happen, I was able to then go and talk to my teaching credential teacher on my Thursday night class or Wednesday night class and say, I tried this. What did I do wrong? Or I was able to talk to other teachers and say, this is what I tried with these students. I had this issue, or this worked really well. Do you have any suggestions? So getting experience while you're in those higher level education settings is really beneficial, and it also looks great on the resume. So, okay, medical school. Like I said, this was way over my head, and I was not big into blood and like bodily fluids. This is not my thing. So it just wasn't happening. But essentially, you're going to have about 4 years of med school beyond your bachelor's degree, 4 to, I guess, 6 years. And then you have your residency and fellowship, 3 to 7 years, and then you're in the workforce. But all this time you are working in medical setting, gaining experience. You're building your network of people that you know and that you can talk to if you need help or you can collaborate with. Collaborating and building your network is, in my opinion, just as important as your schooling, because those are people that have experience in the field and that can give you insights if you get stuck or you need help. And they'll help make, they will, I guarantee you, people in the field will help make your life easier because they have done it, they've experienced it, and they can give you additional insights. Okay, so there's medical laws over here somewhere. I don't know the exact rigmarole with law, but yeah. Okay, master's degree. Usually 2 to 5 years beyond your bachelor's degree. I think they put a cap of 7 years, and if it's taking you 7 years to do it, let's consider stepping it up a notch, okay? You can knock it out in 2 years, but you're probably not going to have much of a social or work life. So shoot for 3, 4. I think I did mine in 4 years, but I also was working a full-time job, 1 or 2 part-time jobs. I still had a social life. I got married during that time, and I was still, I was able to manage things. So look at about 3 to 4 years on that, but the range is generally 2 to 5. From there, you can join the workforce. Okay. When you want to go for a master's degree, it really depends on, or you generally would go for 3 reasons. 1, personal enrichment. You want to know more. You're interested in it. 2, a lot of jobs pay you more if you have your master's degree. Or the more school you have in a lot of jobs, the more you can get paid. Just got to be careful because if you become if you're overqualified or you have too much schooling, you may make yourself difficult to hire because they generally do pay you more. Okay. The 3rd reason, the job you want may require licensing, or the job you want may require a master's degree. So, like I said, school counselor in California, to become a school counselor and to be licensed or have your pupil personnel services credential, you're required to have a master's degree in the state of California and in a lot of other states. So, master's degree is much more specific than a bachelor's or an associate's degree. So, what you want to do is figure out what your career goal is, then find the master's degree that meets the requirements to get you there. So, for example, I had my bachelor's degree. I didn't finish my teaching credential. My life just kind of turned a different direction. I knew that I wanted to become a school counselor and eventually become a school counseling teacher or a counseling educator. So I wanted to teach students how to become a counselor and how to be a counselor. So I knew that I needed a master's degree. So I live in the state of California currently. I did my research. What did I need to do to become a school counselor? I needed to obtain my pupil personnel services credential. What were the requirements for that? The requirements are, I'm going to move this so I stop looking down in the corner of my screen. There we go. Now I look like I'm looking at you. Okay. I needed to earn the master's, and it had to have a certain credential or a accreditation, which is basically the organization or the entity that sets the standards for that program. Okay. For mine, I needed to have a CACREP accredited. It's way down the road. You can worry about that later. Program that I had certain internship requirements. I had certain this, certain that, certain yada, yada, yada. So that's when I realized, okay, I have to have the master's degree and I need this specific master's degree. The master's degree is going to give you very specific skills and knowledge and theory behind the career that you want, and things that you'll need to know for that career field. Okay, that's where the master's degree kind of comes in. From there, you can join the workforce, or you can continue to a doctorate degree. Now, before you continue to a doctorate degree, if that's something you want to do, you can have multiple bachelor's degrees. I wouldn't waste my time on multiple bachelor's degrees because that's just a lot of time and money. You can have multiple master's degrees. So I know a number of people that have a master's degree in counseling, school psychology, School administration, that's something that I've kind of played with. The idea of is going the administration route. But each thing that you want to do has different requirements. You have to do the research on what you want to do. Okay. Now, doctorate. Okay, PhD, EDD. There are a lot of them. Yes, you'll be considered a doctor, but you're not practicing medicine. You get to have that fancy little PhD after your name. You're going to be Dr. Briggs. You can be, yada, yada. Different levels of education allow you to do different things. So, like I said, I'm into education. It's not something that I wanted to do initially, but it kind of grew on me. So when you have a master's degree or a bachelor's degree, I think you can teach associate's degree level classes, like at a community college, I think, but it's usually like classroom aid. If you want to teach associates and bachelor's level, like definitely, you need at least a master's degree. Whatever level you want to teach, you need to have the next level up of education. However, a lot of colleges, if you're wanting to teach at the bachelor's level, a lot of them are looking for more than just a master's degree. They're looking for that doctorate. Now, reasons why you would want to go for a doctorate. You want to be the expert in your field. When you have your doctorate degree, you are considered the expert in your field and your research. Okay. It also gives you a bit of credibility. Some jobs pay more. It also opens a lot of doors for you, career option wise. If you want, for me, 2 reasons why I wanted to go for my doctorate degree, or 3. 1, eventually I want to open my own counseling practice, a private practice. The PhD or the title Dr. Briggs will give me a lot more credibility when I open my practice. 2, I want to teach counseling, which, like full board counseling, is taught at the master's degree level. So I want to teach at this level. I have to go the next level up. So for me, it's doctorate. So I'm working on my doctorate right now. The third reason that why I wanted to get a doctorate, and call me petty, but one day I was in college, somebody made the joke, Dr. Briggs, and it just had that ring to it that I really wanted. I was like, ooh, that sounds good. I really want to get a doctorate. Petty, but it stuck. It sounded good to me. So anyway, doctorate. What to kind of expect. This is where I'm currently at. Okay. With a doctorate degree, expect a heck of a lot of study, an awful lot of research, lots of papers, more internship and experience and field work needed. Okay. When you are when you're going for a doctorate, this is how it was explained to me. Master's, you're learning skills and knowledge in theory. Doctorate, you are proving that you have what it takes to be considered an expert and to gain that respect as somebody that knows their stuff, essentially. Okay. So that was how it was explained to me. You have a lot of support during your doctorate, but you also have an awful lot of work. You're looking at 3 to 6 years generally. Some people take longer. I don't really know of anybody that's taken less than 3 years. I was going to shoot for 3 years. I don't see it happening. I think I'm shooting for 4.5, 5 years on that one for me personally. Now, when I say you're looking at 3 years, that is 3 years, or we'll go with 4 years. That's 4 years on top of the 4 year the time for a master's degree. So if you take 4 years for your master's, 4 years for master's, 4 years for doctorate, 4 plus 4 is 8. You're looking at 8 years on top of your bachelor's degree. So let's just kind of go with standard time and kind of typical time. We'll say 4 years community college, 4 years there, 4 years for a master's degree, so that's 8. 4 years for a doctorate, that's 12. So you have 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, 4 years of master's, 4 years of doctorate. You're looking at about 16 years past 8th grade. It's an awful lot of school. It also costs a healthy amount, an ungodly amount of money, okay? So you have to decide, is your passion worth the work, the stress, the time, and the money to get there? Now, I would never discourage somebody that wants to reach their goal. I would never discourage somebody for their dream. You just have to realize, is it realistic, and are you going to put the work in? If you don't put the work in and finish, in a way, you're almost throwing away that time and money and stress that you've put toward your schooling and your dream. Now, this is not an all money thing. I was explaining this to a student, they thought I was all about the money. It's not. But it is a factor that you cannot ignore. Okay? Once you have a doctorate, going back to the school side, once you have your doctorate degree, you can keep going and get multiple doctorate degrees. You can get more master's degrees. Or you can just jump straight into the workforce. I was playing with the idea of 2 different doctorate degrees. I don't know if I'm going to do that second doctorate degree because this is an awful lot of work for just the one. And the second doctorate degree for me was mostly for my enrichment and for my knowledge, and it was something that I was interested in. I was interested in an EDD, so an educational doctorate in traumatology, so trauma. It was something that was interesting to me, but not sure if I want to go that route. It's an awful lot of school. And despite working in a school and doing so much school, I'm over school and I don't want to do more school. But I like to teach, and to reach the goals I have, I need to do the schooling. Anyway, doctorate is also something that when you're considering your doctorate degree, you need to take into account a lot of the same things with a master's degree. So what do you want to do? I want to teach counseling. Where? I have 5 or 6 colleges that I have my eye on. One in particular, it's actually the school I'm at, which is Capella. I really want to teach there. When you look at their job requirements or their qualification requirements, I have to have a PhD in counseling education supervision, which is what I'm working on, from a K-Prep accredited university, which is the school that I have, Capella is, and what I'm working on. Look for what's marketable. Look for what is needed and required. Those are the 2 big things you should definitely keep an eye on when trying to decide which one to go with, or like which program to go with. You can have 2 of pretty much the exact same programs, but if one doesn't meet the requirements, like the accreditation or licensing requirements, the other one does, I would say stay away from the one that doesn't meet the requirements for what you want to do. So this is a general flow chart of how to kind of plan your schooling and what to consider. This does not mean this is the gospel, exactly your situation. This is exactly what you want to do. Do your research, look into what you want, see what's going to fit your needs and your desires. Go from there. If you have questions, feel free to hit me up on email. OHS students, you should have my email. If you don't have my email, since this will be on YouTube, feel free to drop me a message in the comments, and we can start chatting. All right, all. Have a good one.